Conquering the final frontier. That is the motto that the Indian cricket team have come into after they arrived in South Africa about 2 to 3 weeks ago. You may have drawn the T20Is, you may have won the ODI series, but make no mistake about it, you are here to win the test matches. Remember, India has won in Zimbabwe, India has won in the West Indies, India has won in England about 19 years ago. They recently held them to a 2-2 draw. They have won in Australia on a back-to-back basis. They have won in New Zealand about 14 years ago. Pakistan has been conquered, Sri Lanka has been conquered, Bangladesh has been conquered. The one place where India have not yet won a series is South Africa. And with only 2 tests being played, both in Boxing Day and New Year, in the space of 10 days, you can either win the series or you can lose it or draw it. Now, Rahul Dravid understands what it is because during his playing time, right from 1996 until 2010, he never won a series in South Africa. He just managed to win 2 tests, one in Johannesburg and one in Durban. Now, having come to South Africa on a consistent basis, why do you think that the Indian cricket team has managed to struggle there? Rahul Dravid, in his PC today that he just gave out an hour back, he gave a very, very important assessment, and that is cluster collapse in a session. Because he stated, in one session, in one passage, if you do not play well, you go well behind. Consider the situation that happened in 2017 and in 2021. In 2017, 2 cluster collapses in Cape Town and in Centurion ensured India were 2-0 down in the blink of an eye. Consider even 2021 and 2022. They did not post a total in excess of 300 in the 3rd innings. That is why the Indian bowlers could not defend 250 both in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. Now, Centurion and Cape Town have got 2 contrasting fortunes for India. In Centurion, India just won in 21, but in Cape Town, they have never won a test match. So, session by session collapse. If you collapse in one particular session, suppose you are 5 or 6 down, then it is very, very difficult to come back from that particular time. Even in Dravid's time, Centurion 2010, India were bundled out for 136. Afterwards, the pitch got better to bat on. South Africa made 620, India made 450. And because of that, every single match, every single session, whenever India have come to South Africa, this particular thing about cluster collapsing in a particular session is the thing that has haunted them most. It has not happened that much in the Sena countries elsewhere, but in South Africa, it's happened the most. Now, the question was posed as to why do you think India struggles a lot more in South Africa as compared to the SEN countries? I mean the ENA countries, you had to look at it. England, you managed to win on a consistent basis. You won at least 1 test in 2014 and 18. You won 2 and drew the series 2-2 in 2021-22. Australia, you won back-to-back. New Zealand, you've not won since 2009. But why in South Africa, that is a very particular, peculiar problem for India. He stated, South Africa, there is a variability in all the factors. Bounce is as variable as compared to other places. There is not much of swing as compared to England. Yes, there would be swing, but not banana swing. Not that pacey and bouncy in Australia. I mean, in Australia, you can have pace, there will also be a bit of bounce as well. It can get uneven. It is the uneven bounce that can actually ensure India can be undone. Look at Cape Town, and even if you look at it in Centurion 2017, one delivery from Lungi Ngidi kept very low and Virat Kohli was strapped on the crease plumb LBW. But you go back in Cape Town, one delivery from Rabada in 21-22, it just sprung up from the wicket and then he edged it to the keeper for 79. That's how different conditions can be in Centurion and Cape Town. Adjusting to different conditions, that to test match cricket where you will get a bit of bounce and movement, is the key. And that's why India kind of have struggled in these kind of situations in South Africa. So the key for India in winning a series here is avoid cluster collapses and ensure that the bounce factor is taken into account. So these are the 2 things. But now there is a major concern. Remember, Ishan Kishan is not there in the test squad. He's been sent home for personal reasons. So the onus is now on KL Rahul to keep. And there is a backup in Connor Shrikar Bharat. But if you have to look at it, KL Rahul, is he ready? Is his body ready to keep for 90 overs and 450 overs throughout the test match? Well, if you have to look at it, he stated, KL Rahul has done a lot of keeping in the last 5 to 6 months. There might not be much of spin bowling in South Africa, and that is why he can ease into his role. So, if you have to look at it, that is an indication of the team composition that he may be playing. Maybe India will go in with 4 pacers and a spinner. So, traditionally for a spinner, and if there is pacers, you will have to look at the fact that, okay, KL Rahul might not have to stand up to the stumps that often, not have to keep on a consistent fast basis. He only has to play to the pacers, by which he can get adjusted to the role. KL Rahul, by the way, now is supremely fit. All his fitness issues seem to have gone from the previous 4 to 5 months. So, KL Rahul as a keeper, Dravid has his choice. But also, a word of caution, there is no other guy. Because Ishan Kishan's flown back home. There seems to be not much of, you may say, in case Bharat. How will you ensure that he gets in? So, and even if you look at it, in the past, many wicket-keeping opportunities have not been taken by our keepers in the absence of Rishabh Pant. So, KL Rahul is the natural choice. But the question had to be asked on the World Cup. Now, there is a question that was asked about, okay, if the disappointment is there of losing the World Cup, agreed. But now, if you win a series in South Africa, will that provide a balm to the wound that is there when it comes to the World Cup loss? Dravid was very practical and he clearly blurted out that you cannot compare a series win here to a World Cup. Very practical. You have got something ahead of you. We learn how to move on. Now remember, see, a test match series win and a World Cup final loss are 2 things in isolation. Mixing up formats yet again. Okay, after that when you play, you have to move on. Indian cricket team seems to be doing very well when it comes to moving on. It is only the fans who sometimes struggle to move on from a particular hurt that has happened to them. Yes, the World Cup loss will linger. But the Indian cricket team has moved on because there are so many events to look forward to. After this, you've got the 3 T20Is, then you've got the 5 Test series against England, then you have the IPL, then you have the World T20 immediately in June. Doesn't give you that much of turnaround time. So that's why Dravid is very honest. Sure, if India win a series in South Africa, they'll join Australia and South Africa as the only nations to have won everywhere on the globe. England hasn't won in Zimbabwe, FYI. But is this the best chance for India to win a series? Remember, even the best of Indian teams, right from Sachin Tendulkar onwards all the way to Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, have never won a test series in South Africa. This time, with some major players going away, and maybe now this series will see the retirement of Dean Elgar, Kagiso Rabada and Lungi Ngidi are not in form. I mean, if you look at Gerald Coetzee is just fresh and raw, only 2 tests. And then you've got all the others. Marco Jansen was the star last time, but now is he going to be the same bowler like he was 2 years ago? Dravid stated, we do have a good team and we can play very well. South Africa is a good team at home and they play well in these conditions. I mean, you look at it. When was the last time South Africa lost a series at home? You have to go slightly back. I mean, if memory serves me right, by 2013-14, that was the last time they had lost a series at home. Maybe England might have won on a couple of occasions here. That is the thing. India, and okay, sorry, they lost in 2019 to Sri Lanka, 2-0. That was the only time they had lost, the only Asian nation to win there. So, 4 years ago, South Africa had lost a test series to Sri Lanka at home. Now, can India join Sri Lanka as the only other Asian team to win a test series here? That remains to be seen. So, this is the start of a new cycle when you have to look at it. Sure, India have played a away series against the West Indies. They only got 16 points because one match was rained out. But if they don't win in South Africa, it can lead to complications because their next away tour is against Australia, which is 5 tests. And remember, Australia will be desperate to ensure they do not lose to India for a fifth consecutive time, if I may add, because 17, then again in 18, then 19, then 2021 they lost, then again in the border Gavaskar of 2023 they lost. They lose for the fifth consecutive time. Questions will be asked. However, the quest to finish off the final frontier is beginning in 2 days' time. We'll be bringing you all the latest updates for Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.